and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Monday, President's Day, and that can mean only one thing: Toy News Part 2, as we continue to cover Toy Fair 2026 over there in New York, and we'll have a Toy Fair Part 3 as well tomorrow as we catch up on all the news from this weekend. We started on Saturday with our traditional toy news, a little bit of Toy Fair news in there, and then all the week of toy news. Now we're here into the knee-deep. We're knee-deep into some of the toy news from Toy Fair. A lot going on. But of course, got to thank the sponsor of the toy news. It is jaystoysandgames.com. Use code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal over there. And Jay's Toys and Games is currently boots on the ground at Toy Fair 2026 over there in New York City. Can't wait to talk to them, find out some of the stuff they had coming and going from Toy Fair. Also got to plug the Patreon. Patreon, your best place to support the channel. Got 2 giveaways this month. It is Brody Lee Jazzwares Vault exclusive, as well as the Street Fighter Rock and Bison figure. Both of those being given away on the Patreon. Plenty of stuff to keep you busy on Patreon YouTube channel memberships. Check them out over there as well. But let's get into the news. Let's not waste any time. No more jibber jabber. Let's get down to it. And usually we start wrestling. This time we're starting G.I. Joe. We're going straight into the classified series. You know me, I love my Joe brand. Very exciting weekly purchases yesterday. If you're watching these videos in order, I did get a ton of new G.I. Joe figures, and you'll see a lot of those this week on the channel as we unbox all those. But Toy Fair brought us some answers to some questions and some new figures, and we'll start with the mystery cowboy from a couple of weeks ago saying, who's it going to be? Is it Wild Bill? Is it somebody else? Well, apparently his name is Sundown. So Sundown is his name. Apparently he is on a mission to find the killer of his brother, one Headman. And if you guys have watched some of my most wanted videos for G.I. Joe Classified, Headman was on that list. I'm here for a Headman figure. Really the only Cobra bad guy that ever killed somebody. You know we're here for that. So Headman, part of that special Deke episode once upon a time. And you know Tom Front, everybody's hunting for the Deke, especially those Deke G.I. Joe episodes. But I'm here for this Sundown. It is a new character added to the mix. At first, I thought it was going to be the Cops character Sundown, maybe getting mixed in here, but it is not that. It is something new. I'm here for a little Western wear. I'm here for all that. So we'll see what happens with Sundown, and that makes us know that for sure we're going to get Headman in the future, probably later this year. I'm here for that, no doubt about it. We did see Taurus, and Red Dog. Of course, the next 2-pack for the G.I. Joe team, part of Slaughter's team. I'm here for that as well. 2 favorites of mine from the G.I. Joe movie Once Upon a Time. They were a 2-pack back in the classic 80s set. Now they're a 2-pack once again, so I'm here for that. Looks very good. Can't wait to add those with, of course, Mercer, who we already did receive. We got Overkill, a little controversial to me. Maybe they're going to do a retro Overkill in the future that looks more like the OG one with the talk box and you can make him say stuff. But he does come with a removable mask to be like a human element. So is he like a RoboCop cyborg type character now? Where in the past, I believe he was 100% all Android robot. But is what it is. They're changing stuff around. I'm just not so sold on that human face for him. That's just not my Overkill or what I think of with Overkill, but it is what it is. We also saw the Hydro Viper. We've talked about that one a few times here on the channel. A very classic Cobra underwater diver, whatever you call it. I always used it with Cobra Law back in the day because of the crazy mask. And of course, he's got a pet, so you know he jumps up to the top of the list. We got the Night Creeper Dire Tech Edition, part of a Walmart exclusive line. Of course, Walmart always getting some exclusive Joe figures. This one's interesting. You put it with Crystal Ball, the Dire Wolves, all that kind of stuff. Really building out that subunit team. I guess it makes sense that the Night Creeper would be part of that. Got to get the most out of your molds. You get that Crystal Ball head back out there. Writes itself at this point. So we saw that one. We went Airtight once again with Airtight. We did see him without his mask this time. And man, that's a fabulous head sculpt on Airtight. I always remember that one classic episode where there was like those balloons falling. Where were they? It was like, was it the Games Master episode? I think that might have been the cartoon episode. That's probably Airtight's biggest time in the cartoon. I'm trying to think if that was his biggest episode. Probably. Always kind of a background character, but I'm here for Airtight, one of the OG Joes from my childhood, no doubt. We did see Special Forces, part of the Legacy Collection line, a 2, 3-in-1 figure. Once again, get a little war paint. Looks like him and Hit and Run would be a team or something maybe. But that does look pretty good. That'll be another one of those deluxe one. We've seen the police officer. We've seen the firefighter. Next in line for that series coming very soon. We did see Ninja Force Zartan, no stranger. We've talked about that for a while. Interesting. I don't know. I was a part of the Ninja Force. I enjoyed the Ninja Force, but that's not my Zartan. He might be your Zartan, but still a cool figure. Anytime you get a mohawk on a character, it's a good day. One that came out of left field for me, probably the most surprising one here, is Professor Rotclaw and Cobra Dianachus. Don't even know how to pronounce that, but basically it's a Rotclaw and his pet dinosaur. He's got like a raptor straight out of Jurassic Park. I don't know. Is that going too far in the other direction? I'm not exactly sure. That being said, we think of the history of the G.I. Joe toy lines. They had the, mutants once upon a time, the aliens and things. You had Cobra Law, obviously. We've got like the mole rats. We've got all that kind of zombie type stuff. So who's to say a dinosaur couldn't be there along the way? So a deluxe pack. Once again, it's breathing new life into the G.I. Joe Classified. Not sure it needed new life, but new characters to extend the series, to grow the brand out, just like we saw with Sundown. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'll be picking it up, of course. I'm sure that might even have some crossover to some Jurassic Park fans. Like my daughter, maybe she'll want to start a G.I. Joe collection. We'll see what happens with that. But I thought that was a very interesting figure to come through here. We saw Xania and the Chameleon once again, so that is cool. A lot of people might army build that one just to get those swamp skiers. We'll see how that ends up going. Snake Eyes, Don Moreno, a bit of a controversial character, as we do know. Larry Hama's new Snake Eyes, I guess is what she technically was. We announced that on the Toy News last week, or a couple days ago, 2 days ago, Saturday. We talked all about that. And then one I didn't get all the details on, but it looks like we're getting a repaint of the Trouble Bubble and the Ferret. And I think a Snake Eyes Iron Steel Brigade Snake Eyes. You got 2 extra heads, so you can mix it around maybe a little bit. Not exactly sure if this is going to be, it sounded like it was going to be a box set. It reminds me of the 25th anniversary line Once Upon a Time. I don't know if you guys were around back then. There was that beautiful big box set that came with all the vehicles and figures. It was just massive. It was like $100. I sold all those vehicles out of my collection. I got some regrets of doing that a little bit here, but this is kind of a modern day of that, where you get a good guy vehicle, bad guy vehicle, some characters, and I'm sure some loadout. Thought that seemed to be kind of interesting. We'll see where that goes in the future. But all in all, a pretty good showing from the Classified line, showing us stuff we knew that was coming in a little bit more detail, plus surprising us with some new characters and the Easter egg from a couple of weeks ago for Sundown. I think that was a pretty strong showing by the G.I. Joe Classified series team. One of the best series, or one of the best showings I felt at Toy Fair as I'm filming this right now. So check out some of that kind of stuff. Be interested to hear your thoughts, what you're interested in from that G.I. Joe stuff. Are you okay with dinosaurs entering the mix? I guess we've heard crazier things, there's no doubt. We also saw Marvel Legends over there, keeping it Hasbro related. Finally, pretty much a terrible kept secret. We knew it was coming. We didn't know when, but I've been very excited for this. Very excited to get this one. As when I was a kid collecting comic books, this is one of my absolute favorite comic covers. It is Professor Hulk with the big machine gun. I don't know what the gun's called, but the big machine gun there and the bunny slippers. An all-timer if there ever was one. Very happy to get this in the Marvel Legends line, part of that Hulk packaging. And it looks like we're getting a second hit with that Hulk to put him in the Capcom versus Marvel series that we've been unboxing on the channel here over the last year. It's a way to get that Hulk out without putting him in there. So it's a little bit of a dual use Hulk, and maybe you need to buy 2 of these Hulks. We'll see what happens with that. We also saw a new version of the Iron Spider. I am not familiar with that one at all, but it is coming up for pre-order. It looks like it's going to be a fan channel exclusive here in the next couple of weeks. Besides that, it was the usual stuff we'd already talked about and seen from Marvel Legends at Toy Fair, at least as I did see there. Now, moving our attention over to WWE Mattel, and Mattel doesn't go super strong at Toy Fair as far as wrestling over the years. But we did get a few things. One thing that stood out was it looks like we're getting another wrecking vehicle. It is the Slambulance. Now, we got the white Slambulance once upon a time. Now we're getting the bright red one. So I don't know if there's going to be figures included with this or what else might be included. But if you're after a Slambulance, you need another one in your collection. Now you can get it in red. How about that? And we did see Cena, Orton, and Chelsea from the Ultimate line coming up next. We knew all about those as well. Randy Orton got a little bit of a jumpsuit, sweatsuit, I guess what we'll call it for that one. I don't know. Orton's a weird figure. Orton is a legend, a Hall of Famer, one of the tippy-top guys in the WWE, but maybe the most untoyetic pro wrestler as far as top-tier carded characters. I don't know. It just feels like it's the same song and dance all over the place. His time with sweatsuits, though, for Randy Orton. So if you're into that, you can pick that one up very, very soon. Then we moved our attention over to something that was also announced this weekend. It comes to us from the Matt Maniacs Nerd Closet line of retro figures. They did update. They have an upcoming 2-pack with Rick the Model Martel and Jake the Snake Roberts. They updated the Jake the Snake Roberts head to include the eye that has like the glossy eye from when he got the arrogance in his eyes. An all-timer of a angle on the Brother Love show once upon a time. Very memorable as a child. Led to their blindfold match, which some people thought was the worst match of all time. But I did enjoy that angle, and I love the look of that. I like the attention to detail for that. So we did see that this week. We also saw some other wrestling stuff here. Zombie Sailor Toys at Toy Fair. How about that? Showing up in the big guns there. Be interested to see where he goes in the future. We would like it to go with our Pinnacle figures, as he is totally on the clock, beyond on the clock right now. As we were supposed to have those Pinnacle figures originally the end of last year. Then he said end of January, early February. Well, now we're in the heart of mid-February. No Pinnacle figures. Still waiting for our Road Warriors as well. I am guessing probably, I'm not going to say the excuse, but I'm sure if he made the comment, he'd say, well, I was getting ready for Toy Fair doing all this stuff. I will ship it right after Toy Fair. So if we don't get shipping notices in the next week or so, we're all going to lose our mind. Maybe, maybe not, but we give Power Town a very hard time, and rightfully so. Well, Zombie Sailor is around the corner right here as we've had delays. We're coming up on the year for the pre-order on those. I think it was early March is when we pre-ordered those Pinnacle Series figures. Hopefully we get those in hand here before the month is up. Let's get those out there right away, and the Road Warriors too. But we did see some new stuff from Pinnacle. We did see Dino Bravo, much needed in the elite scale. Wish Mattel could have done it, but we'll take a Pinnacle figure. Looked like we got 3 heads for Dino Bravo as well. The Canadian Strongman, if there ever was one. Would have liked to have had one of those with the dark hair option, as he wasn't always totally blonde. Would have been a nice thing. Maybe there's time to still change that. That's what I would do with Zombie. If you're going to give us that many heads, give us one with the darker color. You might get people buying 2 of those to display both looks. Just a pro tip out there. And we did see One Man Gang. I think we did see the head for that once upon a time. We saw the full-on body for the One Man Gang. Looking very good in Pinnacle, but we don't really know what we're getting ourselves into with these Pinnacle figures until we get them in hand. We know New Jack was up there too. Going to be interesting. He's got to turn and burn these. We've talked about it before, but Mattel beats you to the punch for King Kong Bundy, Brian Pillman. That hurts your sales, so you can't let that happen. He's got One Man Gang. He's got Dino Bravo. He better get those to us before somehow they sign with Mattel, and Mattel gets us those. So more to come on that. We'll see where it goes with the Pinnacle line. My fingers are crossed we have these in the next 2 weeks. We'll stay on top of it in the toy news. We did see some of the Heels and Faces lineup figures here. We saw a new Brian Pillman, looking interesting as well. Macho King, we talked about that. We got clearer images this week for the Macho King. Ultimo Dragon in a jumper position. I have to think if he was around in the Hasbro days, he would have been a jumper. We saw the Brooklyn Brawler, not too bad there. And then we saw Joey Janela. So it'd be interesting to see how well Joey Janela sells. Nothing against Joey, just doesn't have the star power name of some of the legends of wrestling past. So we'll see where that ends up going in the future. But that's it for Zombie Sailor toys outside of, or for wrestling, I should say. Outside of that, they did show Silent Hill figures. We talked about that a while ago, but they also showed off their new Ace Ventura line, and it's all about diversification of the portfolio. Wrestling brings him to the dance, gets him money to make, you know, the Silent Hill, the Ace Ventura, the Army of Darkness, and so forth. You just can't lose your eye on the prize and what brought you to the dance. So we'll see how all those sublines go for him. Hannibal Lecter, I forgot about that one as well. Bruce Lee, there's a few for Zombie Sailor. So he's really branched out. I just hope we can get all these in a reasonable time frame. For me, I don't need Ace Ventura. I don't need Silent Hill. That's not for me. I got one Bruce Lee. I don't need the other Bruce Lees. Army of Darkness, I will pick up those ones because I'm an Army of Darkness fan. But the rest of them, I'm just pretty much sticking to wrestling. That's what I want to see, and I think a lot of us feel that kind of same way there. But that's it from Heels and Faces Zombie Sailor Toys at the Toy Fair. But now, of course, it's Monday, yes, but we still need a Power Town update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
And I believe it was a year ago when Powertown showed up at Toy Fair. They were in like the basement in like a corner, not a very good position, but they were there and they were showing some stuff off. I think it was the Remcos. I could be wrong, but I was pretty sure it was Toy Fair. This year, it sounds like they're nowhere to be seen, unfortunately. But we did catch up with a friend that was also at Toy Fair. He was over at the NECA booth, and then he was riding shotgun to the show with our old friend, that KG outlaw, Waylon Jennings, and we got a little bit of advice along the way.
I found out a long time ago, you gotta learn to say yes when life says no.
And Waylon, the master wordsmith, is always right. You got to learn to say yes when life says no. And that sums up Powertown in a lot of ways. It's been a disaster. It's been an embarrassment. It's just been an absolute mess, but we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully we see something. I'm not holding my breath at this point. We're coming up on a year. Radio silence. I don't know if much is going to change out of that. We'll see what Greg and Magnum, unfortunately or fortunately for them, they're the faces of the company. They got to answer to this stuff, and it's been way too long without any kind of update. And like, once again, we're coming up on the year from the last update on their website, which is absolutely crazy. And them not being at Toy Fair, I think, tells us everything we need to know about the future of Powertown, relatively worldwide, Boomerang Entertainment, and possibly the careers of Steve, Greg, and Magnum. So, also, by the way, can we get somebody to make me a Waylon Jennings figure? Can we get a Waylon figure? We got Big Bird coming from NECA. He was at the show. Can we get a Waylon Jennings figure? I don't know. But another guy I'd take a figure of, a guy that we always like to bring up on the channel, one Jerry Reed. And Jerry Reed, always right as usual. Get me a Jerry Reed figure. Get me a Waylon Jennings figure. Who can give me a Country Greats figure line? Let's get it. Let's get after that. I'd be here for it. But we're going to finish up this toy news. Like I said, we'll have another one tomorrow. We'll talk NECA. We'll talk Masters of the Universe. We'll talk DC. We'll talk Todd from the couch. And any late breaking news from Sunday, we'll talk, from Sunday, Monday. I guess Toy Fair goes to like Tuesday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have some more updates tomorrow as well in another video where we'll cover more of the news from Toy Fair. But we're going to finish this episode off with Collect Major. And out of everything I've seen, you know I love G.I. Joe. I love a lot of these properties. Collect Major showed up the biggest and hardest at Toy Fair. They treated this like a San Diego Comic-Con. As usually, a lot of companies hold back. They don't give a ton of stuff at Toy Fair. San Diego Comic-Con is the big reveal time. Not for Collect Major. They went hard at Toy Fair. And I think a lot of that has to do with Toy Fair is more for industry and companies like Jay's Toys and Games that are working the area, buying for their stores and stuff. They're trying to make a name for their stores. They're trying to work some of that. And we'll see where that goes for them. Hopefully they're trying to gain distribution to retailers, all kinds of things and all points in between. So I think this show maybe meant more to them as a whole than it did some of the other companies. That's just my opinion there. Putting on the old business hat. But let's dive into it. We saw a lot of stuff from Collect Major. Some old stuff, but a lot of new stuff as well. And we're going to start with some new stuff. Now, just recently on the channel in the last week, we unboxed Macho Man Randy Savage Cincinnati Reds edition. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Well, if they wanted to go worse than Cincinnati Reds, they went to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh my gosh, 1988, Kirk Gibson, I'll never forgive you. But it looks like we got Macho Man in Dodgers gear coming around the corner. Oh my gosh, playing all the hits in the wrong way. But we got Dodgers and Reds, my two least favorite teams, in the Macho Man gear. We also saw the Mets gear, Macho Man. You know, that makes Brian Myers very, very happy. So we got that one coming, and then you got the New York Yankees as well. So the prophecy is unfolding before us. We're going to have every major league team in Macho Man gear. It's overkill if there ever was one. It's getting the most out of your molds if there ever was one, but it's a smart move because most people that buy this aren't really a hardcore wrestling collector. They just want Macho Man in their team's gear to sit on their desk. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, that being said, how cool would it be to have every major league team in Macho Man gear all displayed? I think there'd be something cool. It'd be very colorful. It would be very wild. We'll see where it ends up going in the future. But we've got 3 more around the corner here. Shocking, no Cardinals Macho Man. As I always say on the channel, he was in the Cardinals farm system the longest. You think that'd be the first one they did? For whatever reason, that isn't the case. So we'll see where that goes. The mascot line continues. When are we getting Stomper? We need Oakland A's Stomper. We need that one like yesterday. Hopefully that's on the docket. But we got Clark from the Cubs. This is something like I would give my grandpa for Christmas. Die-hard, longtime Cubs fan. Cubs farm system guy, played for as a pitcher back in World War II for the Cubs. My grandpa would love this in his collection. I don't think I'm going to get it for him, though. I don't think he's accepting any gifts at this point. But Clark, the Cubs mascot, is coming, and Wally the Green Monster from Boston Red Sox. So once again, are we going to complete all the team mascots? They'd be fools not to do that. It's a license to print money, I do think. If the margins are there, that's for sure. But we did see those. Hopefully Stomper's on the horizon. Let's get that Oakland A's Macho Man. Let's get that Stomper big rubber guy as well. We also saw a peek under the tent of some properties to come. Now, I've been working on a video here on the channel about who I want to see as big rubber guys, be it wrestling, be it pop culture, be it everything else. I've had a list together. These were not on my list, but it is the Princess Bride. You get a little of that Andre takeover with that one. So you'll get, was it Fezzik? I've never seen Princess Bride. I would probably buy the Andre, but not anything else beyond that. We saw the Phantom. That's a deep cut. I mean, it's not a deep cut. It's like one of the first pulp comic heroes going way back in the day. Part of the Defenders of the Universe with Mandrake the Magician. That's the one we need. And we also need, who else is in there? Flash Gordon, I guess, which they do have Flash Gordon coming. Now, it didn't say if this was pop comic version of Phantom and Flash Gordon. I'm going to assume that's what it is, because that I've heard is a very cheap license compared to any other superheroes like Marvel, DC, etc. I can see them doing this. I just don't know if there's a big enough fan base for Phantom and Flash Gordon and that stuff. You'll get your hardcores for sure, but we've seen NECA struggle with a lot of clearance items on those properties. I just don't know if there's a lot of meat on the bone or if there's a big want for those properties. But I think they're trying to build momentum and get to some of the bigger stuff. But Phantom, Flash Gordon coming. Princess Bride is kind of the same thing. Maybe a little bit better than those two, just because you got the Andre crossover. I don't know. Be interested to see where that one goes for them here in the future. But the big heavy hitters were the wrestling stuff, just like Zombie Sailor. That's what brought them to the dance. But they got to get out there and spread their wings to some other properties. But they did come hard with wrestling. Sergeant Slaughter ×2. 2 new editions of Sergeant Slaughter. Looking very good. We got Rick the Model Martel. Very smart of them to come back very quickly with a new Martel. A lot of people down on that last one, which is very disappointing. They have made better glasses this time around, so that looks good. Pretty in purple for Rick Martel. One-man game, we talked about him earlier. We got a new one here. I would love to see that face get updated a little bit better on that. I don't know if there's still time to do that. I would also love to see them, for the first time ever, try to add soft goods to the big rubber guys, because you need that denim vest over the top to really give that one-man gang experience. Now, maybe there'll be a third-party company that can make these for them that we can buy or something, but I think that'd be a cool thing for the guys to do if they could give us a vest. Do it similar to the Sewer Rat, where anybody that pre-ordered during a certain window, they get the vest, just like the Sewer Rat with bad news. I'd love to see something like that. We saw Warlord. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to pick this up for my dad, his all-time favorite wrestler. This is pretty darn cool to have in the big rubber guys. I haven't seen it in person, obviously. I wasn't there, but I did see a picture of Matt Cardona holding it. The proportions on that one looked a little strange to me, though. I don't know if he had shorter legs than I imagined. Felt like he needed to be taller. Maybe that was just me. Maybe that was just the camera. I'm not sure. But Warlord looks amazing. We also saw the Macho King, Randy Savage. Once again, we saw the same retro from Zombie Sailor. Now we got a big rubber guy version here, but it looks good. Getting the most out of your molds, once again, makes a lot of sense. One that came out of left field, but I love to see it. Jushin Thunder Liger looking amazing. Talk about toyetic. We don't have enough Liger figures. We got those beautiful ones from Storm Collectibles, but we need more Liger in our collection, and this one will fit the bill for sure. I love the looks of this. Would love to see Hayabusa go with that. I know Sean over there at KWK really wants to get involved with Hayabusa figures all over the place. He's helping represent that. So I'd love to see Collect Major work with him to get a Hayabusa figure, hopefully sooner rather than later. This one came out of left field. I had to do one of these. Like, I wasn't sure what I was seeing. I was like, I think I know who this is, but this can't be it. So at first I was like, that looks like the babyface assassin, Josh Barnett. And I said, there's no way they'd make a big rubber guy at Josh Barnett. That doesn't make sense. That's off the course. But then, what the heck? It was Josh Barnett. So I love Josh Barnett back to the old UFC days. I think I'm going to be seeing Josh Barnett this July. So that'll be pretty cool. I don't think we'll have the figure in hand by then. But he is a guy that's flirted with pro wrestling. He was almost TNA heavyweight champion once upon a time. But are we going to start getting MMA guys from the big rubber guys? That is on that video I was talking about list. Hopefully that opens the door for Don the Predator Fry, Boss El Guapo rooting. Get me that all day long. Would love to see Ken Shamrock. Probably not possible, but let's get Frank Shamrock. How about? Let's get the Iceman Chuck Liddell. Vanderlei Silva would be amazing to have in that collection. Fedor Emelianenko. Let's get Fedor's brother while we're at it. Why not? There's just a lot of talent I would love to see in the big rubber guys. Like a guy like Butterbean I could see. I would love to see some of these combat sport ones too. Hopefully that's on the table. Hopefully that's the start of it with Josh Barnett. But I think this might be representing Josh Barnett more in his wrestling career. Either way, very cool to see this. I will be picking up that Josh Barnett. We saw the ECW line for the first time on display. We've seen renders in the past, but we got Sabu around the corner, Raven, Tommy Dreamer. I'm all in on ECW. I was a kid of the ECW era. I want all the ECW characters. Get me the Sandman. Get me Taz. Well, and once again, you got kind of legalities in that. But I guess with the AW partnership, they could get Taz's of the world. Shane Douglas, Francine. There's just so many I would love to see. It'll be interesting to see where that line goes. It's one of those ones, though, where they're really getting out there. It's tough to be a completionist. Impossible, really, at this point. So you got to pick and choose. It'll be interesting to see. I don't like how this month, January, February, they've had like 7 different figures come out. That's a lot to keep track on. So I don't know if that's going to become the norm going forward. We'll have to see what happens there. But I do love those. Then we saw some figures we saw in the past. We got some updated figure looks at these guys. Tanahashi, I'm not sure if he's still available on Pro Wrestling Tees. He very well could be. Mike Santana, I think I heard, or maybe Matt said on their podcast or something, that Santana is going to be like the lowest run big rubber guy they've ever done, something along those lines. So that could be a sleeper one, depending how he continues to go in TNA and maybe he goes to WWE, etc. We'll see what happens. Killer Cross, the bane of my existence, because I thought Killer Cross was part of the pre-order with Sean Mooney and The Genius and Coco Beware. I ordered them all together. Well, that was my mistake. Killer Cross doesn't come till March, so those orders are held up for me. So one day I'll get all those figures. We'll see what happens. We saw Edge ×2 with the regular Chase edition. Paul Ellering, that's just around the corner. We should have that, I think, maybe next. We'll see. But we did see Paul Ellering. The Rougeau brothers up for pre-order right now at Collect Major. A must-have if there ever was one. We saw the Andre and Flair repaints shown off for the first time in person. Looking pretty good. We saw Ric Flair, or we saw Andre the Giant in a suit is what we saw to go along with the Ric Flair in a suit. So we saw that as well. We saw the Mighty Hercules. Very cool. Cannot wait for the inevitable Power and Glory. That's going to be an amazing one to have. And we saw Hillbilly Jim, a country boy if there ever was one. Love to see that Hillbilly Jim figure. So Collect Major, the big rubber guys, really stole the show, in all honesty. Obviously, I'm biased. I love the LJN style figures, but very fun to see them really go hard at Toy Fair. And I don't know if that was part of their decision or not, knowing other companies don't usually go as hard during Toy Fair, but it really made them stand out, which they're growing, and that was a smart move, putting on the business hat, if you ask me. We also saw Major Bendies, kind of the forgotten brand for Collect Major in some ways. They went really hard for years on those, have dialed those back, but we do got Sabu and Joey Janela from last year, of course, at the was that Spring Break event, Joey Janela Spring Break, partially GCW. We saw that. So if you wanted that, you can get those. And then we saw another line of major stars. We already knew about the Hardys. They talked about those at their live show a couple of weeks ago. But we saw the former Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, TNA star. We got that one coming. Shotzi. They love some Shotzi. We've had 2 big rubber gals of Shotzi. Now we're getting a major star. And then Ric Flair coming to the major stars as well. So a lot of stuff coming down the pike from, of course, our friends over there at Collect Major. And that is round number 2 of Toy Fair News 2026. Like I said, tomorrow you'll have another video with all kinds of stuff going on. Early, if you're a Patreon member, you guys know how that goes as well. But a lot of stuff to talk about. Tomorrow's video will have NECA, He-Man, DC, McFarlane, miscellaneous, including Denver, the last dinosaur. I cannot wait to talk about Denver. A lot of good stuff to talk about as we close out Toy Fair 2026 coverage here on the channel. Be interested to hear your thoughts on this stuff. Anything catch your eye, anything you need to have in your collection, let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, which is also conveniently enough the name of my podcast, Kyle Peterson Show, available where podcasts are found, videocast on YouTube. So for day 2 of Toy Fair, I'm Kyle. You know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into day number 3.
Then the boys that listen